The stars above shimmered like shattered glass, stretching endlessly across the void. The human settlement on Zithera, 9 glowed faintly, a lone testament to Earth ingenuity in a universe that had not yet learned to welcome humanity. Jay stood on the observation platform, the metallic wind of the colony station tugging at his jacket. He inhaled deeply, savoring the scent of ionized air mixed with the faint aroma of exotic flora brought from other worlds. Every nerve in his body tingled with anticipation and unease. The holographic screen flickered, and then she appeared, Virelia, the richest and most beautiful alien in the known galaxy. Her eyes shone like molten gold, her skin iridescent under the station lights. She had descended in her personal cruiser, the hull etched with symbols older than most interstellar civilizations. Jace did not flinch when her form shimmered before him. Most would tremble at her presence. Most would bend to the weight of her status, the depth of her wealth, the allure of her impossible beauty. But humans did not bow to fear. Virelia stepped forward, her voice a musical echo that vibrated deep within the metal floor. "Human Jace," she said, each syllable carefully measured. "I have traveled across galaxies, navigated the storms of dying suns, and crossed the territories of beings who devour worlds. I beg you marry me." The words should have stunned him. They should have overwhelmed his senses. Instead, Jace observed. He noticed a slight tremor in her hand, the way her golden eyes searches for something more than admiration, the desperate longing that wealth could not conceal. He did not answer immediately. Humans had a gift, the ability to assess danger, to read opportunity, to measure truth beneath the shimmer of appearances. He studied her cruiser behind her, noting the reinforced shields, the concealed weapons. She wielded power the galaxy had feared for centuries. Yet here she was, vulnerable, asking him for something no alien ever dared ask a human. Trust, partnership, love in a universe built on conquest. "I do not fear you," he said finally. His voice was steady, resonant, carrying across the empty platform. "Nor do I bow to gold, jewels, or authority. If you seek my hand, you must prove that this is more than vanity, more than ego. The universe does not tolerate weakness." Virelia's gaze hardened, then softened. The air shimmered around her, and the station lights flickered. She raised a hand, and a holographic map of the universe materialized between them, filled with war zones, dying planets, and ancient relics lost to time. "Human Jace," she said, her voice now edged with fire. "I will take you to the edge of reality, to places where stars bleed and civilizations crumble. I will show you powers that have terrified empires. If you survive, if you endure, then I will know your worth." Jay stepped closer. The platform hummed beneath his boots. The cold of space touched his skin, yet he felt warmth surge through his chest. Humanity had always thrived on impossible odds, on tests others called insane. Humans had endured extinction events, tamed fire, harnessed the atom, crossed galaxies on fragile ships. Humans had survived because they adapted, because they learned, because they never surrendered. "Show me," he said, his eyes reflecting the cosmos behind him. "Show me this universe you claim to master. I will not be awed. I will not be bought. I will endure." Virelia smiled, a curve of perfection that had centuries of experience and danger. "Then let's begin," she whispered. The station shuddered violently. Alarm screamed. Beyond the glass dome, something massive tore through the orbit, a shadow so large it blotted out the nearby sun. "That," she said, voice tense and controlled, "is the trial." Jace's heart did not falter. The shadow moved with intent, its surface flickering with energy fields older than humanity itself. Tentacles of light lashed across the void, striking smaller ships into nothingness. The human colony below was a jewel in the claws of an ancient predator. He gripped the railing, tasting the metallic tang of fear mixed with excitement. Humans did not cower. Humans did not run when the odds were impossible. Humans fought. He turned to Virelia. "Lead the way. I will survive this. I will prove my worth. And when this is over, if you still wish to walk beside me, then we shall face the galaxy together." Virelia's form shimmered with pride and disbelief. Most beings would not have accepted the challenge, would have faltered beneath such audacity. But humans were different. The shadow moved closer. The void itself seemed to pulse with anticipation. Stars bent unnaturally under its presence. Jace inhaled deeply, feeling the weight of history, the pulse of humanity, and the thrill of proving that no being, no empire, no god could match the resolve of a human heart. He stepped onto small fighter Virelia offered, the cockpit lights reflecting in his eyes like distant suns. "Let the universe witness," he said, "the strength of humanity." And with that, the engines roared. The fighter leapt into the shadow's path. The fighter's engine screamed, a piercing wail of defiance against the void. Jace gripped the controls, feeling the vibrations run through his bones. The shadow moved with unnatural speed, twisting in impossible patterns, a predator unchallenged for millennia. Stars fractured in its presence, bending light and threatening to erase the small human craft from existence. Virelia's voice cut through the calms, steady and commanding, yet tinged with awe. "Do not engage directly," she warned. "This being senses intent. It can detect fear, hesitation. You must think differently. Outmaneuver it, anticipate its patterns." Jace's mind raced. Humans thrived on problem-solving, on improvisation when machines, monsters, and God seemed unstoppable. He studied the shadow, tracing the pulsating energy along its surface, noting the rhythm. It was not random. It had a pattern, subtle but present. He adjusted the thrusters, sliding the fighter sideways with human ingenuity rather than brute force. The shadow lashed out, a tendril of energy striking the place where he had just been. Sparks exploded across the cockpit as the hull shuddered. Virelia's golden eyes widened. "You anticipate it. No one has ever done that." Jace smirked. "Humans survive because we adapt faster than the universe expects." The fighter darted forward, weaving between the shadow's appendages. Every movement, every calculation, was instinct and training fused together. Jace's heart pounded, but his mind was clear. Every second was an opportunity. Every breath a chance to survive. A massive energy surge shot toward the station below. Humans screamed inside the colony as shields flared and crumbled under force. Jace angled the fighter, intercepting the wave with a calculated counterthrust. The blast deflected, shattering a nearby asteroid but saving the station. Virelia gasped audibly. No alien, no ancient power has ever defended humans so perfectly. Jace felt a surge of pride. Humans had always faced extinction, always stared at impossible odds and found a path. The universe had underestimated them for centuries, and every battle, every challenge, only made them stronger. The shadow recoiled, then lunged with terrifying speed. Its energy lashes wrapped around a nearby star, drawing power to form a massive sphere of concentrated light. The entire system trembled. Virelia's fingers danced over her control panels. "That sphere will obliterate everything if it stabilizes. You must stop it." Jace's pulse quickened. There was no weapon powerful enough to destroy it directly. No alien trick would work here. Only one solution remained: human ingenuity. He scanned the surrounding debris. Asteroids, derelict ships, magnetic fields, all materials and forces the shadow could not predict. A plan formed, fragile but brilliant. He ignited a series of micro-explosions in the debris field, using gravitational tugs and precise timing to redirect the sphere. The light trembled, shifted, and then exploded outward harmlessly, dissipating across space. Virelia's mouth fell open. "You did not fight it. You tricked it." Jace exhaled slowly. Humans did not always rely on brute strength. Intelligence, creativity, and courage were just as potent. "Force is predictable," he said simply. "The universe is not." The shadow shrieked, a sound that made stars shiver. It writhed, stunned by human strategy, an apex predator unable to comprehend cunning outside its centuries of experience. Virelia moved closer, her hand brushing his shoulder across the holographic display. "I have never seen anyone survive this, not even my ancestors. You are extraordinary." Jace felt the heat of her admiration, a new kind of power unlike any starship or weapon he had known. It was respect, recognition, and something far more human, connection. But the trial was far from over. The shadow retreated into a rift in space-time, a swirling anomaly pulsing with energy older than most known galaxies. Virelia hesitated. No being has ever returned from that rift. It consumes everything. Jace did not flinch. Humans had crossed deserts of fire, oceans of void, and mountains of ice. They had endured environments designed to kill. A rift that devoured stars would not be an exception. "We survive," he said simply. "We always do." She activated her cruiser, shielding him inside a reinforced cockpit. Then we entered together. The rift tore at their senses. Colors bent unnaturally, sounds fractured into impossible echoes, and gravity twisted in ways that made every movement a calculation of instinct and courage. The shadow's presence lingered, watching, testing, challenging their resolve. Inside the rift, reality fractured. Jay saw visions of worlds consumed, civilizations erased, and ancient entities rising like gods to claim dominion. Most would have fled, paralyzed by terror. Humans did not flee. Jace's hands danced over controls, plotting courses through impossible distortions. He reasoned through the chaos, finding patterns in the madness, navigating to the rift with logic, intuition, and audacity. Virelia clung to his side, awed and frightened. "You are insane," she whispered. Jace laughed. Insanity is a tool of survival in a universe designed to kill. As they progressed, the rift itself seemed to resist, throwing challenges that would have destroyed the cleverest alien minds. Energy storms lashed the hull, temporal anomalies aged systems by decades and seconds, and monstrous forms lurked in the void, testing reflexes and resolve. Every time, Jace found the solution, often through improvisation, sometimes through sheer courage, and always through human ingenuity. At one point, a massive shadow of a creature loomed directly before them, its form stretching across the void. It spoke, not in words, but in raw, violent energy that assaulted the mind. Many beings would have been broken, their consciousness shattered. Jace's mind burned, but he focused. He converted the fighter's energy into resonance pulses, using sound and vibration to interfere with the creature's perception. The alien writhed, confused, and recoiled. Humans had no supernatural powers, no ancient abilities, yet they could use intelligence as a weapon. Virelia's eyes shone with disbelief. "You fight with thought itself." "Humans have always done that," Jace replied. "We survive by thinking, learning, and refusing to surrender." The shadow screamed, retreating deeper into the rift, leaving the humans standing victorious, battered but unbroken. When they emerged, the void had returned to its normal calm. Stars sparkled once more, and the station on Zithra 9 glowed peacefully below. Virelia turned to Jace, her expression a mixture of awe, admiration, and something far more personal. "You have proven yourself in ways I never imagined. No being, no empire, no power has matched you. You are humanity's finest." Jace shook his head, smiling through fatigue. "Humans are not perfect, but we endure. We fight. We survive. That is all that matters." Her hand found his, warm and trembling. "Then," she said, her voice softer now, intimate, "if you will allow it, I still ask, will you marry me?" Jace looked out at the stars, at the infinite challenges that awaited humanity. He understood that nothing, not wealth, beauty, or power, could replace courage, ingenuity, and heart. He turned to her, resolute. "Yes, but know this, if we marry, we face the universe together. Every danger, every impossible challenge, every ancient power, and humanity will lead the way." Virelia's eyes shone with tears, golden light reflecting across her iridescent skin. "Then, together," she whispered. As they descended toward the station, Jace felt the pulse of humanity thrumming through him. Undaunted, unstoppable, unconquered, the universe had underestimated humans for centuries, and now, alongside the richest and most powerful alien in existence, they would prove their worth to every star, every ancient entity, and every impossible threat that lurked in the darkness. The journey had only begun. The cruiser descended through Zithra 9's atmosphere, cutting through clouds of violet storms that shimmered with ionic energy. Lightning arcs danced across the horizon, crackling in the alien sky, illuminating mountains of black crystal that jutted like the spines of some colossal creature. The human settlement below looked fragile, a cluster of lights in the storm's chaos. Jace gripped the console, feeling the vibrations of the engines through his fingertips. Every fiber of his being screamed alert, but he did not flinch. Humans thrived in environments that would kill most species within moments. They adapted, they improvised, and they endured. That was their strength. Virelia sat beside him, her golden eyes tracking the storm, the distant flashes of energy, the subtle ripples in the atmosphere. She had witnessed countless disasters, navigated countless wars, and commanded fleets of worlds, but she had never seen a human face such dangers with calm certainty. "You are remarkable," she whispered, almost reverently. No alien would attempt this without hesitation. Jace smirked, adjusting their trajectory. "Humans do not hesitate. We survive. That is our instinct. That is our legacy." The cruiser shook violently as the storm intensified. Lightning struck dangerously close, arcing across the hull in blue-white filaments that sizzled and cracked. Warning lights flashed across the console. "Brace for turbulence." Jace shouted, his voice cutting to the hum of the engines. The craft plunged, twisted, and shuddered under the storm's wrath. Jace's mind calculated trajectories, adjusted thrust, countered spin, all while monitoring Virelia's systems. Every calculation was precise, every movement intentional. Humans were not born to fear. They were born to survive against odds that no other species could endure. Suddenly, the storm parted, revealing a jagged canyon of black crystal that rose from the planet's surface, like a fortress built by the universe itself. Streams of energy coursed through its veins, pulsing with an ancient rhythm, as if the planet itself were alive. Virelia's eyes widened. That is the heart of Zithra. It has been dormant for millennia. No one has ever approached it and survived. Jace leaned forward, studying the black crystal. The structures were massive, crystalline towers stretching hundreds of meters, their surfaces rippling with energy. The canyon radiated heat and raw power, yet Jace did not hesitate. Humans had walked through volcanoes, crossed deserts of fire, and sailed seas of ice. They thrived where others died. "Then we survive," he said simply, his voice calm amid the storm. They landed on a flat plateau near the canyon's edge. The ground vibrated beneath their feet, as if the planet itself were testing their resolve. Jay stepped out, the storm whipping against his suit, the alien wind biting at exposed skin. Virelia followed, her presence radiant yet cautious. She had never trusted anyone with the heart of Zithra. No alien would dare approach without immense preparation. But here, beside a human, she felt a strange mix of hope and awe. From the canyon, a low hum resonated. The air shimmered, bending light around the crystalline structures. Shapes moved inside the black towers. Creatures formed of energy and crystal, their forms incomprehensible to most beings. They pulsed with collective intelligence, ancient and relentless. Jace took a step forward. "We are here to endure. We are here to prove that humans can thrive where others cannot. These challenges do not terrify us. They sharpen us." The creatures noticed them. Beams of energy shot across the plateau, testing their defenses. Jace dodged instinctively, rolling through the strikes, analyzing the energy patterns. Each beam had a rhythm, a delay, a vulnerability. Humans could read patterns where others saw chaos. Virelia gasped. No one has ever reacted so fast. They are learning and adapting. Jace crouched, studying the energy pulses bouncing across the canyon floor. He began improvising, using the storm's ionic energy to charge his suit shields, reflecting the beams back at the crystalline creatures. The creatures recoiled, confused by the unexpected human ingenuity. "You fight with intellect," Virelia murmured, awe in her voice. "Not strength, not power. Thought itself becomes your weapon." Jace nodded. "That is what makes us dangerous. That is what allows us to survive where others perish." Suddenly, the canyon rumbled. A massive crystal spire cracked, splitting apart to reveal a colossal guardian, a being older than most galaxies. Its form was crystalline, with facets that glowed like molten light, and it towered over them, radiating a presence that could crush planets. Virelia's breath caught. The guardian of the heart, it awakens. Jace did not flinch. Humans had faced extinction-level threats and survived. Their courage was as natural as their heartbeat, their resilience forged through centuries of challenges. He activated the suit systems, scanning the Guardian, analyzing weaknesses in real time. The Guardian's voice was a vibration, a resonance that shook the ground, felt more than heard. Why do you approach? Mortals are forbidden. Jay stepped forward, unyielding. Humans do not flee from the impossible. We endure. We survive. That is why we exist. The Guardian paused, considering. No being had ever spoken with such audacity, such unshakable confidence. Most would have cowered or fled. Humans were different. The Guardian lashed out, a wave of energy that could have obliterated a city. Jace reacted, dodging with precision, using his suit's agility and improvised energy shields to redirect the attack. Each movement was a blend of intuition and strategy, the result of evolution, training, and instinct. Virelia watched, her admiration growing. She had commanded fleets, conquered empires, and survived threats that had annihilated civilizations. But never had she witnessed someone face an ancient godlike being with nothing but courage and intellect. Jace countered, analyzing the Guardian's attack patterns. He noticed the faint delays in its strikes, the tiny inconsistencies that revealed openings. With calculated precision, he triggered a sequence in his suit that amplified energy resonance, sending pulses directly into the Guardian's crystalline structure. Cracks formed, glowing lines spreading across its body. The Guardian roared, a sound that shook the plateau. But it did not destroy him. Instead, it recoiled, recognizing the human skill. Virelia stepped closer. You are extraordinary. No alien could have survived this encounter. Jace wiped sweat from his brow. Survival is not about strength. It is about ingenuity, courage, and the refusal to surrender. That is what defines humans. The Guardian spoke again, this time less violently. You endure. You survive. You are human. Jace smiled, understanding the truth in those words. Humans were underestimated not because they were weak, but because they were different. Their resilience, intelligence, and adaptability made them unpredictable, unstoppable, alive. The Guardian receded, allowing them access to the heart of Zithra. The black crystalline towers glowed softly, their energy humming in harmony with the planet. Jace approached, feeling the pulse of power beneath his boots. Humans had survived extinction events, alien conquests, and impossible challenges. And now, standing before an ancient power, they endured again. Virelia reached for his hand. You have proven yourself beyond measure, not just to me, but to the universe. Jace looked out over the canyon, the alien storm breaking into dazzling colors. Humans always endure. That is our gift, our legacy, our curse, and our strength. She smiled, her golden eyes shimmering with a mixture of admiration and affection. Then, together, we will face whatever the universe throws at us. No matter how ancient, how powerful, or how impossible. Jace nodded. Humans do not bow. Humans do not flee. Humans survive, and when we do, we thrive. The storm calmed. The Guardians acknowledged their courage, and the heart of Zithra pulsed in approval. The universe had tested them, and humans had triumphed. But the galaxy remained vast, full of threats, full of ancient powers, full of beings who believed nothing could match them. And Jace and Virelia would face every challenge, together. For humans were not just survivors. Humans were the spark that refused to die, the fire that could never be extinguished, the light that shone brightest when all else fell into darkness. The journey had only begun. And somewhere, far beyond the light of Zithra 9, another ancient force stirred, sensing the presence of a species that defied the impossible. A species that would prove, again and again, that the universe underestimated humanity at its peril. The cruiser pierced the black veil of interstellar space, leaving Zithra 9 behind. Stars stretched into streaks of light, distant suns flickering like dying embers. Jay sat at the helm, eyes narrowed, sensing the subtle currents of the cosmos. Gravitational waves, electromagnetic pulses, anomalies in the void. Humans had always navigated danger with intuition and logic combined, and that instinct now guided him through a galaxy that did not welcome the weak. Virelia hovered nearby, her golden iridescent eyes scanning the stellar maps projected before her. Despite her wealth, her power, her centuries of experience, she had never traveled like this with a human at her side. Each calculation Jace made, each maneuver he executed with instinctive precision, filled her with awe. "Where are we headed?" she asked, her voice barely above the hum of the engines. "Sector Iucus Prime," Jace replied, fingers dancing over controls. Reports indicate a rogue star collapsing into a singularity. It is consuming nearby systems, and there are artifacts buried in its orbit, remnants of civilizations lost before recorded history. They are dangerous, but humans excel where others fail. Virelia tilted her head, her expression unreadable. "You risk more than just life. You risk everything. Humans are reckless." Jace smiled faintly. "Humans are daring. That is different." The cruiser approached the rogue star. A swirling maelstrom of plasma and energy arcs stretched across the void. Planetary fragments spiraled toward the singularity, torn apart by gravitational forces beyond comprehension. Ships sent by other species had disappeared without trace. Jace did not falter. Humans had survived apocalyptic events on Earth, navigated hostile planets, and faced extinction-level threats. Their survival was forged in fire and ice, in storms and pandemics, in wars and famine. "We approach the outer orbit," he said, voice steady. "Keep sensors on maximum. Every fragment, every energy pulse may hold clues." The cruiser dodged massive debris fields, twisting through gravitational eddies with human ingenuity. Most species would have panicked, lost control, or fled. Humans thrived on calculated risk, on adapting faster than the universe expected. Virelia's hands hovered above her console, hesitant. "You are insane." Jace laughed softly. "Insanity is simply the human way of survival when normal rules do not apply." As they drew closer to the orbit, a strange energy wave pulsed across the cruiser. The console flickered, and then the voice came, not human, not alien, but something older, vast, resonating with centuries of consciousness. "Who dares enter the singularity?" it intoned, shaking the ship with the weight of ancient authority. Jace did not flinch. Humans had always confronted entities that believed themselves invincible. "Humans endure," he replied evenly. "We survive where others perish. We adapt, we conquer, and we rise. I am Jace, and this is Virelia." The voice pulsed again, testing, probing, seeking weakness. Most species would have broken under scrutiny, their minds shredded by the intensity of its perception. Jace, however, adapted. He focused, channeling human intuition and logic into a shield of thought, responding in kind. "You are unexpected," the voice finally admitted. "No species has ever confronted this domain with courage. Few have survived merely exposure." Jace's heart pounded, but he remained calm. Humans are not like other species. Our strength is not just in body or technology. It is in mind, in heart, in will. That is why we survive. The energy wave receded, and the path to the singularity's orbit opened. Virelia exhaled in awe. "I have never seen a human confront an entity like this and remain intact." Jace shook his head. "Intact is temporary. Surviving, enduring, proving worth, that is permanent." The cruiser entered orbit around the rogue star. Remnants of ancient civilizations floated amidst the gravity wells. Titanic ships crushed into fragments, cities encased in protective energy bubbles, artifacts emitting signals that defy conventional physics. "These artifacts," Virelia said, her voice tense, "they are dangerous. Some are sentient, some are traps. Many have destroyed entire fleets. Even I have never dared approach them." Jace's eyes gleamed with determination. "Then we do not flee. We survive. That is the human way." They approached a massive energy orb, pulsing with a rhythm that felt alive. As the cruiser drew closer, the orb expanded, enveloping the ship in a lattice of light and energy. Most beings would have panicked, but Jace's mind calculated the lattice's structure, predicting the gaps, the pulses, the cycles. He maneuvered with precision, weaving through the orb's defenses, dodging energy tendrils, and reflecting plasma arcs with makeshift shields. Every move was a combination of instinct, logic, and courage, the defining traits of humanity. Virelia watched, astonished. "You are impossible." Jace grinned. "Humans excel where impossibility reigns." Suddenly, the orb's energy coalesced into a sentient form, a being of pure light and thought. Its voice was a symphony of stars, a resonance that could shatter worlds. "Why do you intrude, mortal?" it demanded. Jace did not hesitate. "We intrude because we endure. We intrude because humanity thrives where others fail. And we intrude because curiosity, courage, and will define our path." The orb paused, considering. Most beings would have faltered under the weight of such audacity. Humans did not falter. Humans confronted, adapted, and overcame. "You are remarkable," it said finally. "Few can confront me and remain whole." Jace nodded. "Humans survive. That is our gift." The being of light receded, allowing access to the artifact at its core. The object was a crystalline device, inscribed with symbols older than time. As Jace reached for it, energy arcs struck, threatening to destroy them both. He calculated the arc's pattern and redirected them using a series of rapid maneuvers and energy pulses. The artifact pulsed, then calmed. Virelia placed a hand on his shoulder, trembling. You have conquered what no one else could. You are extraordinary." Jace's eyes reflected the artifact's glow. "Humans endure. We survive. That is what sets us apart." The artifact activated, projecting a holographic map of distant galaxies, systems untouched by any known civilization. Hidden within were coordinates, keys to civilizations long lost, and secrets capable of reshaping the universe. Virelia's voice was soft now, awed. No alien, no empire, no god could have claimed this. Only a human. Jace smiled faintly. "Humans are unpredictable. That is our advantage. That is why we endure where others fall." As they prepared to depart, the rogue star trembled, its gravity warping, pulling at everything nearby. The singularity pulsed, threatening to collapse. Virelia looked at him, panic in her golden eyes. "We cannot survive this." Jace's hands moved with calm precision. He calculated escape vectors, timed thruster bursts, and manipulated gravitational currents. The cruiser weaved through collapsing space-time, dodging imploding planets and energy eruptions. Every maneuver was impossible, yet humanity thrived on impossibility. Every calculation, every instinct, every ounce of courage kept them alive. The singularity spat them into open space. Intact, the artifact secured. Virelia's voice trembled. You survived the impossible. No being should have endured that." Jace shook his head, exhausted but triumphant. "Nothing is impossible for those who refuse to surrender. That is what humans do. That is who we are." She reached for his hand, her eyes shining. "Then, together, we will face the universe. Every ancient power, every lost civilization, every impossible challenge, we will endure it." Jace looked out at the stars, at the galaxies teeming with threats and wonders alike. Humans had survived supernovae, alien empires, rogue stars, and beings older than time itself. They would continue to survive and thrive. "Humans do not flee," he said, voice steady. "Humans do not bow. Humans endure. And when we endure, we conquer." Virelia smiled, her golden eyes reflecting the endless cosmos. "Then we face it together." The cruiser shot forward into the void, carrying the humans who refused to be tamed, refused to be conquered, who would prove again and again that no matter how vast, dangerous, or ancient the universe might be, humanity's heart, mind, and what would always shine brightest. And somewhere in the farthest reaches of space, an ancient council being stirred, sensing the presence of a species that defied expectation, a species that would continue to astonish, conquer, and endure the humans. The cruiser glided to the dark expanse of the Andrus Void, a region of space so perilous that entire fleets had vanished without trace. Stars were scattered like shards of shattered glass, and the vacuum carried whispers of forgotten civilizations. Jace gripped the control console, feeling the vibrations of the engines and the faint pull of gravitational anomalies. Every sense was alert. Every calculation mattered. Humans had always thrived in environments that demanded ingenuity and courage, and the Andrus void was nothing if not demanding. Virelia hovered beside him, her golden eyes scanning the holographic projections that flickered in the cockpit. "The Andrus void is said to be alive," she said quietly. "The myths speak of sentient nebulae and entities that feed on entire worlds. No ship has returned from here intact, and even fewer with their minds whole." Jace's lips curved into a faint smile. "Then it is perfect. Humans do not fear the unknown. Humans survive the impossible." The cruiser shuddered as they approached a swirling maelstrom of dark energy, its gravity warping the stars around it. Fragments of destroyed ships orbited the vortex like cursed satellites, their hulls scorched and broken. Jace's eyes narrowed, scanning the debris for patterns. Intelligence, observation, and adaptability were human weapons. Most species would have panicked. Humans thrived on problem-solving under pressure. "Adjusting trajectory," he said, fingers dancing across the controls. "We will thread the debris without collision. Watch closely." The cruiser twisted and spun, evading massive shards of metal and crystal, sliding through gaps that seemed impossibly narrow. Every move was precise, calculated with intuition and logic. Virelia gasped as the ship dodged a spinning wreck that would have annihilated most pilots. "Your instincts, they defy explanation," she whispered. "No alien could maneuver like that. You are extraordinary." Jace did not respond. His attention remained fixed on the void ahead. Humans were not content to survive. They studied, adapted, and overcame. That was what made them dangerous to beings who underestimated them. Suddenly, the void shifted. Gravity waves rippled through space, pulling the cruiser toward a colossal energy construct. It was enormous, like a living city of pulsating light and metal, stretching across thousands of kilometers. Towers of energy spiraled upward, connected by filaments of pure power that hummed with ancient resonance. Virelia's eyes widened. The nexus of eternity, it has been dormant for millennia. No being has approached it since the collapse of the ancients. They say it consumes knowledge, power, even life itself. Jace leaned forward. "Then we will endure. That is what humans do. We face the impossible and adapt." As the cruiser approached, tendrils of energy lashed out, probing, testing, assessing. Most ships would have been incinerated instantly. Humans, however, had a unique gift, the ability to anticipate, to improvise, to act in ways that defied prediction. Jace activated the ship's auxiliary systems, channeling power to create resonance shields that pulse in harmony with the Nexus. Each energy tendril struck the shield and recoiled, unable to penetrate the human-engineered defense. Virelia's golden eyes glimmered. "You manipulate energy as though it were an extension of yourself. No alien could react this fast, this accurately." "Humans survive," Jay said calmly. "That is our instinct. That is our strength." The Nexus pulsed, and a voice resonated. A voice older than galaxies, both mechanical and organic, carrying the weight of centuries of knowledge. "Mortal, why do you approach? None may claim what lies within. All have failed." Jace's hands move with precision. "Humans endure. Humans adapt. We survive where others perish. We are not the first to fail. We are the first to persist." The Nexus studied them, projecting holographic illusions across the void. Entire world appeared. Civilizations rose and fell in seconds. Creatures of unimaginable power challenged him in simulated battles. Most beings would have been overwhelmed, their minds broken. Humans were different. Jace analyzed patterns, recognized flaws, and adapted in real time. He navigated the illusions with precision, countering attacks, predicting movements, and exploiting weaknesses. Virelia watched, all evident in her expression. "You are impossible," she whispered. "Humans thrive on impossibility," Jace replied, voice calm. "That is why we endure. That is why we survive." The Nexus pulsed again, this time opening a passage, a corridor of energy that led to the core of the construct. Jace guided the cruiser through, navigating twists of light and gravity that defied all known physics. The very air, or what passed for air in this void, vibrated with ancient knowledge and power. At the core, a chamber opened, vast and impossibly tall. A crystalline artifact floated in the center, radiating energy that seemed alive. Around it, holographic runes spun, projecting the history of the universe in intricate detail. Empires rising and falling, stars igniting and dying, civilizations consumed by hubris. This is it. Virelia breathed. The heart of a nexus, it contains knowledge beyond imagination, power beyond reckoning. Jay stepped toward it cautiously. The energy around the artifact pulsed, testing him, probing his intentions. Most beings would have faltered, corrupted by the artifact's power. Humans had a unique resilience. They could confront power without surrendering to it, could adapt without losing themselves. He reached out, feeling the energy ripple through him. The artifact pulsed, then seemed to recognize his presence. The holographic runes shifted, presenting challenges, ancient puzzles, traps of energy, logic conundrums designed to test intelligence, courage, and adaptability. Jace's mind raced. He solved each puzzle methodically, improvising where needed, using intuition where logic alone could not suffice. Virelia watched, her admiration growing. No being could endure this without surrendering. But you are human. You adapt. You conquer. The final challenge activated. A sequence of energy constructs, each more powerful than the last, moving in impossible patterns designed to overwhelm perception. Jace's hands flew over controls, adjusting shields, firing precision pulses, maneuvering with instinct honed over years of training and survival. Energy strikes collided around him, lights flashing like novas, but Jace endured, surviving each strike, countering, adapting, learning faster than the constructs could respond. The final barrier shattered under his ingenuity. The artifact's energy enveloped him, testing his mind and spirit. Most would have been obliterated by the intensity. Humans endured. They thrived under pressure, drew strength from challenges, and found clarity amid chaos. Finally, the artifact acknowledged him, its energy settling into a steady, harmonious pulse. Knowledge and power flowed through cruiser systems, revealing coordinates, technologies, and ancient secrets lost to all other species. Virelia reached for his hand, her golden eyes shining with awe and something deeper, affection, respect, admiration. You have conquered what no one else could. You are humanity's finest. Jace smiled faintly. Humans survive. That is our strength. That is why we endure. And we will continue to endure, no matter the universe's dangers. The Nexus pulsed one final time, granting them safe passage back through the void. As they emerged, the stars stretched into clarity, and the galaxy awaited, a vast expanse filled with threats, wonders, and challenges that no species had faced. Virelia's hand lingered in his. Together, we will face every challenge. Ancient powers, rogue civilizations, impossible tests, humans will lead the way. Jace looked out at the cosmos, feeling the pulse of humanity, undaunted, unbroken, unstoppable. Humans do not flee. Humans do not bow. Humans endure. And when we endure, we thrive. The cruiser shot forward into the void, carrying the humans who refused to be tamed, who would continue to astonish the galaxy with their courage, intelligence, and indomitable spirit. The cruiser pierced the veil of the Veilstorm Nebula, a region of space notorious for swallowing entire fleets without a trace. Clouds of charged particles swirled like liquid fire, lighting the void with streaks of green, violet, and gold. Stars flickered as if afraid, dimming in the presence of the nebula's chaotic energy. Jace's hands moved over controls with fluid precision, eyes scanning the constantly shifting landscape. Every fluctuation of magnetic fields, every eddy of gravity, every shimmer of energy was accounted for. Humans thrived on challenges that would overwhelm any other species. Virelia sat beside him, tense yet mesmerized, her golden eyes reflecting the nebula's violent light. "The Veilstorm is alive," she whispered. "It feeds on ships, on energy, even on the minds of those who enter. No species has ever crossed it intact." Jace did not flinch. "Then we are human," he said, voice calm but commanding. "Humans endure. Humans survive. That is what sets us apart." The nebula lashed at them, particle storms buffeting the cruiser, tearing at its shields. Lightning arcs of raw energy struck dangerously close, ionizing surrounding space. Most pilots would have panicked, losing control in seconds. Jace adapted, calculating the timing, the angle, the energy flow. The cruiser danced through the storms with precision that seemed impossible. Virelia's eyes widened. You do not just survive, you predict it. You are extraordinary. Jace smiled faintly. Humans do not fight blindly. We observe, we calculate, we adapt. That is why we thrive. Suddenly, a massive silhouette appeared through the nebula, a fleet of vessels unlike any known civilization. Sleek, angular, bristling with energy weapons, their hulls glowed with a deep crimson light that pulsed as if alive. Jace's sensors identified them as the Zarati, an ancient alien empire thought extinct for millennia. Virelia gasped. The Zarati, they have been gone for thousands of cycles. If they see us, they will destroy everything in their path. Jace's jaw tightened. Then we will survive, as humans always do. We do not retreat. We do not surrender. The Zarati vessels approached, energy tendrils probing the cruiser. Their weapons were designed to melt metal, destabilize molecular bonds, and crush any life form in seconds. Most species would have fled. Humans thrive where others failed. Jace activated the auxiliary energy matrix, creating resonance shields that absorbed the first wave of attacks. He studied the fleet's formation, noticing patterns in their approach. Slight delays, predictable rhythms, vulnerabilities in their coordination. Humans fight differently, he said, almost to himself. We use intelligence as a weapon. Virelia watched in awe as Jace executed a series of maneuvers that no alien pilot would have attempted. He twisted the cruiser through the gaps between ships, using the Zarati's own energy signatures to disable their systems temporarily. Each pulse of counter-energy struck with surgical precision, exploiting flaws they had believed unassailable. One by one, the Zarati vessels faltered, energy cores destabilizing under human ingenuity. The fleet's commander, a massive warship, a hull that shimmered like liquid obsidian, activated its ultimate weapon, a gravitational beam designed to crush planets. Virelia's voice trembled. If that weapon fires, nothing survives. Jace did not flinch. He analyzed the beam, calculated its trajectory, and initiated a series of synchronized thruster bursts and energy pulses. The cruiser slid to the gravitational waves, deflecting the beam toward a cluster of asteroids. They exploded in a cascade of molten rock, dissipating the weapon's destructive force. Virelia's golden eyes shone with admiration. No being, no empire could have survived that. You are human. Humans survive, Jace replied simply. That is all we need to do. The Zarati commander, intrigued by this audacity, activated a telepathic probe, a psychic assault capable of overwhelming the mind, tearing thoughts into fragments. Most species would have succumbed immediately. Humans adapted. Jace focused, drawing on instinct, logic, and sheer mental discipline. He countered the psychic waves with patterns of thought and reflexive calculations, creating a shield of awareness. The probe crashed against him, failing to breach his mind. The Zarati were stunned. No being had ever resisted their psychic attacks. Virelia's voice was awed. You fight with thought itself and survive. Humans are impossible. Jace nodded. Humans endure. That is why we thrive. That is why we will always endure. The Zarati, realizing brute force and psychic assault had failed, retreated. Their massive warship pulsed with anger, but the humans had survived where none had before. Virelia exhaled, her hand finding his. You are humanity's finest. No alien, no empire, no god could face what you face and survive. Jace's eyes reflected the nebula's chaotic light. Humans survive. That is our gift. That is our strength. And we will continue to survive no matter the universe's dangers. As they continued to the nebula, a new challenge arose. A rift in space-time, jagged and pulsating, stretching for light years. Through it flowed streams of energy and fragments of civilizations lost to time. Entire star systems hung on the edge of collapse, their planets torn apart by temporal distortions. This rift, it has destroyed entire fleets, Virelia said, her voice tense. It is a tear in the universe itself. Jace's jaw tightened. Then it is perfect. Humans do not flee. Humans endure. Humans survive. The cruiser entered the rift. Reality bent around them, light and sound fracturing into impossible patterns. Time shifted, moving forward and backward unpredictably. Most pilots would have been paralyzed, lost to chaos. Jace adapted, using every instinct, every calculation, every ounce of human ingenuity. They navigated the rift, dodging temporal anomalies, weaving between fragments of collapsing stars, and avoiding energy storms that could erase matter itself. Humans thrived on challenges that defied comprehension. Suddenly, the Rift's guardian emerged, a colossal entity of pure energy, older than the stars, its form constantly shifting, its eyes countless suns. It tested them, lashing out with energy waves that could have obliterated entire civilizations. Jace's hands moved with precision. He anticipated the guardian's strikes, countered with energy pulses, and maneuvered through patterns no alien could predict. Every move was a testament to human ingenuity, courage, and adaptability. Virelia gasped. No being has ever faced that and survived. Jace smiled faintly. Humans endure. That is what makes us dangerous. The Guardian recoiled, recognizing the human's resilience. The rift pulsed, granting them passage and revealing the remnants of an ancient civilization, technologies, artifacts, and knowledge lost for millennia. Virelia looked at it with awe and something deeper, affection, respect, love. You have conquered what no one else could. You are humanity's finest. Jace nodded. Humans survive. That is our legacy. That is why we endure. And we will continue to endure, no matter what the universe throws at us. The cruiser exited the rift, emerging into open space. Stars stretched like diamonds across the void, and the galaxy awaited. A vast expanse filled with threats, wonders, and civilizations untouched by time. Virelia reached for his hand. Together, we will face every challenge. Ancient powers, rogue civilizations, impossible trials, humans will lead the way. Jace looked out at the cosmos, feeling the pulse of humanity, undaunted, unbroken, unstoppable. Humans do not flee. Humans do not bow. Humans endure. And when we endure, we thrive. The cruiser shot forward into the galaxy, carrying the humans who refuse to be tamed, who will continue to astonish the universe with courage, intelligence, and indomitable spirit. The cruiser emerged from the Veilstorm Nebula, battered but intact, into a region of space so ancient that light itself seemed hesitant to cross it. The stars here were dim, many burned out eons ago, leaving ghostly remnants suspended in the void. Jace sat at the helm, scanning the expanse with a human's innate hunger for patterns, for solutions, for survival. Humans thrived where others faltered, not because they were the strongest, but because they adapted faster than any threat could anticipate. Virelia hovered beside him, her golden eyes wide with awe. This sector, it has been quarantined by the Council of Ancients for centuries. Entire species vanished here. No one ventures into the shattered expanse and returns alive. Jace's jaw tightened. Then it is perfect. Humans do not flee. Humans endure. That is why we survive where others perish. As the cruiser drifted further into the shattered expanse, fragments of massive warships, cities, and celestial bodies floated silently, frozen in time. Each fragment emitted faint energy signatures, some hostile, some neutral. The debris formed a labyrinth of ruin, and within it an ancient structure loomed, colossal, impossibly massive, with surfaces that shimmered like liquid crystal, reflecting the dying starlight. Virelia's voice was barely a whisper. The Obsidian Spire. It is said to house the Council of Forgotten Minds. They were beings older than stars themselves. Legends say they test anyone who approaches, and failure is eternal. Jace leaned forward, eyes narrowing. Then we face them. Humans survive the impossible. That is our legacy. The cruiser maneuvered closer, slipping between jagged fragments of debris. Energy pulses flared suddenly, arcs of ancient power lashing out at them. Most species would have panicked, losing their composure instantly. Humans thrived on chaos, on the impossible, because survival was not just instinct. It was art, strategy, courage, and intellect fused together. Jace guided the cruiser through narrow gaps, redirecting energy arcs with improvised resonance shields, using the debris as cover and weapon simultaneously. Virelia's golden eyes tracked him in disbelief. No alien, no god could survive this unscathed. Humans are impossible. Humans endure, Jace replied simply. That is what makes us dangerous. As they neared the obsidian spire, the structure seemed to awaken. Surfaces rippled, reconfiguring themselves as if alive. Doors, hallways, and corridors formed and vanished, responding to their approach. Ancient sentinels emerged, towering construct of obsidian and light, armed with weapons that defied comprehension, their eyes glowing with intelligence beyond measure. Virelia's voice trembled. They will test you. These constructs, they are not just machines. They think, they judge, they kill if unworthy. Jace adjusted the ship systems. Then we prove worthiness. That is what humans do. We survive. We endure. We overcome. The sentinels unleashed volleys of energy, tearing through the void with precise aim. Jace countered with calculated maneuvers, reflecting attacks using modified energy grids, dodging strikes that would have obliterated most civilizations. Each movement was a blend of instinct, ingenuity, and adaptability, the hallmarks of humanity. One sentinel broke formation and lunged directly at the cruiser, a living missile of obsidian and power. Jace analyzed its trajectory, calculated the energy resonance frequency, and triggered a counterpulse that destabilized the construct mid-flight, sending it spiraling harmlessly into the debris field. Virelia's breath caught. You fight with thought itself. Not brute force, not technology, you fight with ingenuity. That is how humans survive, Jace said calmly. The universe underestimates us, and that is our advantage. The remaining sentinels converged, forming a barrier around the obsidian spire. Jace scanned the structure, tracing energy flows, detecting weak points, and calculating the optimal path forward. Humans did not rely on raw power. They used intelligence, improvisation, and courage to prevail. He executed a daring sequence of maneuvers, guiding the cruiser through the Sentinels' formations. Energy pulses collided with the shields, sparks illuminating the void in brilliant flashes. Yet Jace remained calm, focused. Each strike he countered, each pulse he redirected, showcased the adaptability and resilience that defined humanity. Virelia's golden eyes shone with awe. No one, no being, has ever survived this. You are humanity's finest. Jace smiled faintly. Humans endure. That is why we survive. That is why we will continue to endure, no matter the universe's dangers. The cruiser entered the spire's inner sanctum, a vast chamber suspended in anti-gravity, filled with holographic projections of galaxies, stars, and ancient civilizations. In the center, an artifact hovered, a crystalline core, pulsating with energy older than time, surrounded by floating runes inscribed in languages lost in ages. The core's energy lashed out, probing their minds, testing their intent. Most beings would have been obliterated instantly, corrupted by the artifact's ancient power. Humans had a unique resilience. They could confront power without succumbing to it, adapt under pressure, and think with clarity amidst chaos. Jace stepped closer. The artifact pulsed, projecting a holographic labyrinth of challenges, logic puzzles, moral dilemmas, energy traps, and sequences that defied time itself. Failure meant annihilation. Humans thrived on challenges that tested every limit, because they had endured for millennia. He solved each puzzle with precision, improvising where needed, exploiting patterns invisible to any other species. Virelia watched, or written across her face. No one, no being, could endure this. You are human. You are extraordinary. The final challenge activated. A field of shifting energy constructs, each moving unpredictably, threatening to crush reality itself. Jace adapted instinctively, predicting their movements, countering with energy pulses, dodging and weaving to the chaotic field. Every strike, every maneuver, demonstrated human ingenuity, courage, and adaptability. Finally, the constructs disintegrated, and the artifact's energy settled, acknowledging the human's resilience. Knowledge, power, and coordinates the civilizations lost to time flowed through the cruiser systems, revealing secrets that could alter the galaxy's balance. Virelia reached for his hand, her golden eyes glimmering with admiration and affection. You have conquered what no one else could. You are humanity's finest. Jace nodded. Humans endure. That is our strength. That is why we survive. And we will continue to endure no matter what the universe throws at us. The obsidian spire pulsed once more, then receded, granting them safe passage back into the shattered expanse. Stars returned to their brilliance, and the galaxy awaited. A vast expanse filled with threats, wonders, and civilizations yet untouched by time. Virelia placed her hand on his shoulder. Together, we will face every challenge. Rogue empires, ancient powers, impossible trials, humans will lead the way. Jace looked out at the cosmos, feeling the pulse of humanity, undaunted, unbroken, unstoppable. Humans do not flee. Humans do not bow. Humans endure. And when we endure, we thrive. The cruiser glided into orbit around Luminaris Prime, a world bathed in golden light and surrounded by rings of crystalline ice. The planet's surface shimmered, reflecting the stars' rays in an endless dance of brilliance. From orbit, it appeared peaceful, serene. Yet Jace knew the calm of a world often masked its dangers. Humans had learned to see opportunity and threat in every glimmer, to thrive where others hesitated. Virelia stood beside him on the bridge, her golden eyes scanning the planet below. We have traveled farther than any human or alien has dared. We have faced threats older than stars, civilizations lost to time, and powers beyond reckoning. And yet here we are. Jace leaned against the console, hands clasped behind his back, his gaze fixed on the shimmering continents below. Humans endure, he said quietly. That is our nature. That is why we survive, no matter how impossible the challenge. The cruiser descended to the planet's upper atmosphere, slicing through clouds of iridescent gas that danced like auroras across the sky. Lightning arced silently through the mist, illuminating jagged mountain ranges and forests of crystalline flora. The air was charged with energy, a low hum resonating through the ground and into their bodies. Jace inhaled deeply. Humans thrived on challenges, on extremes, on danger, and the planet radiated all three. As they touched down on a flat plateau near a massive crystal lake, the air shimmered with residual energy from the artifacts they had recovered. Each pulse of light and vibration reminded them of the trials they had endured. Rogue stars, ancient alien empires, sentient voids, and constructs older than galaxies. Most beings would have been broken long before reaching this point. Humans thrive because they adapted, because they endured, because they refused to surrender. Virelia approached him, her hand brushing against his arm. Jace, you have done what no one else could. You faced impossible odds, navigated threats that should have killed us, and emerged unbroken. Humanity is extraordinary, but you have proven it. Jace smiled faintly, a mixture of exhaustion and satisfaction in his expression. Humans endure, Virelia. That is all we need to do. We do not wait for fortune or favor. We carve our path, survive the storm, and thrive in the chaos. The ground beneath them trembled slightly, a subtle vibration that spoke of the planet's latent power. Crystals along the plateau began to glow, responding to their presence, and from the lake, a column of light erupted, projecting an image of the galaxy itself. Stars flickered, systems aligned, and threads of ancient energy wove together to form a tapestry of cosmic knowledge. This is a legacy of civilizations lost to time, Virelia whispered. The artifact you recovered, the trials you overcame, it all leads here. This planet, it is a nexus of power and knowledge, meant for those who prove their worth. Jay stepped forward, feeling the energy ripple through his body. It was overwhelming, yet invigorating. Humans were designed to face adversity, to endure and learn, and in that moment he felt the culmination of every challenge, every obstacle, every threat they had overcome. The galaxy had tested them, and humanity had answered with brilliance. As he touched the column of light, visions flooded his mind. Civilizations rising and falling, supernovae igniting, ancient beings testing their limits, and humans confronting every impossible challenge with ingenuity and courage. He saw fleets of humans navigating rogue stars, confronting sentient voids, outmaneuvering alien empires, and surviving where no one else could. Virelia watched him, awe and admiration in her eyes. You have carried humanity's legacy farther than anyone else. You have proven what it means to endure, to survive, to triumph where others fail. Jace turned to her, his gaze steady and resolute. And humanity will continue to endure. We will explore, adapt, and thrive in every corner of the galaxy. Nothing can stop us, because we face every challenge with courage, intelligence, and the will to survive. The light from the column coalesced into a figure, a being of energy and knowledge, ancient and powerful beyond comprehension. Its presence was both terrifying and magnificent, yet it radiated a sense of acknowledgement and respect. You have proven yourselves worthy, the being intoned. Its voice of resonance fell in the mind as much as the body. No other species has demonstrated the ingenuity, courage, and resilience required to survive the trials of the cosmos. You have earned the legacy of those who came before, and the future is now yours to shape. Jace nodded solemnly. We will honor that legacy. We will continue to endure, to explore, and to thrive. Humanity does not surrender. Humanity survives. The energy being pulsed once more, and the planet itself seemed to respond. Crystals across the plateau shimmered, projecting maps of unexplored systems, coordinates of lost civilizations, and blueprint of technologies that could elevate humanity beyond imagination. Virelia's hand found his again. This is beyond anything I could have imagined. You have not only survived the impossible, Jace, you have conquered it. And yet, you remain human. Remarkable, brilliant, enduring. Jace smiled, a tired but triumphant grin. That is what it means to be human. To endure, to adapt, to thrive. No matter how vast, how ancient, or how impossible the universe may be, humanity will rise. The cruiser systems hummed as they absorbed the knowledge and energy from the planet. Jace felt the culmination of their journey. The trials, the battles, the near-impossible encounters, all converging into clarity. Humanity had proven its worth not through conquest alone, but through ingenuity, courage, and the relentless will to endure. Virelia stepped closer, her golden eyes reflecting the crystalline light. Jace, there is no limit to what we can achieve together. The galaxy is ours to explore, to understand, to protect. Jace placed a hand over hers. And we will, together, humans endure. And with allies like you, there is nothing we cannot face. They stood together on the crystalline plateau, gazing at the projection of the galaxy, feeling the pulse of energy, the heartbeat of civilizations long gone, and the promise of those yet to come. Every trial had tested their limits. Every battle had demanded ingenuity and courage, and every impossible challenge had been met with the human spirit's unwavering determination. In that moment, the universe seemed to pause, acknowledging the triumph of humanity. Jace and Virelia were not merely survivors. They were symbols of endurance, brilliance, and the indomitable will to overcome. The planet's energy subsided into a gentle glow, as if recognizing the humans who had conquered its trials. Stars shone more brightly. Distant systems hummed with life, and the galaxy seemed to welcome the new era humanity was about to begin. Virelia looked at him, her expression softening. You have proven what it means to be human. Not just intelligent, not just courageous, but enduring, adaptable, unstoppable. You are everything humanity can be. Jace took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the journey and the promise of the future. Humans endure. That is who we are. That is why we survive. And now, the galaxy will see what we can achieve. The cruiser lifted from the plateau, carrying Jace, Virelia, and the legacy of humanity into the stars. They had faced rogue stars, ancient empires, sentient voids, and impossible challenges, and they had endured. Humanity had proven that intelligence, courage, and adaptability were the ultimate weapons, and that no matter how vast, how dangerous, or how ancient the universe might be, humans would not merely survive, they would thrive. As they charted a course toward the uncharted reaches of the galaxy, Jace reflected on the journey. Every challenge had been an opportunity to prove what humans were capable of. Every threat had been a testament to their ingenuity. Every victory had been a demonstration of endurance, courage, and brilliance. Virelia reached for his hand once more, and this time there was no hesitation, no fear. Only trust, respect, and a shared understanding of what they had achieved together. The universe is ours to face, she said softly, and together we will thrive. Jace nodded. Humans endure. Humans survive. And when we survive, we conquer, we explore, we shine. Nothing can stop us. The stars stretch before them, infinite and full of promise. The galaxy awaited, teeming with dangers, wonders, and civilizations yet to be discovered. And humans, undaunted, unbroken, unstoppable, will continue to rise, to challenge, to endure, and to thrive.